Hey guys, Odyssey here. And man, has everyone been going crazy over the new villager mechanics, myself included. There's been all sorts of automatic farms pop up over the last couple days, but some of the most interesting ones to me are these new low-tech farms that rely on villagers throwing food at each other to automate the process. And that's what this is right here. So you can use this for bread using wheat, carrots, or potatoes. And I'll just go ahead and explain the way it works. So I've got this little plot of land here, and I've got a water source block underneath that glowstone, keeping it all hydrated. And this farmer here goes around, harvests the carrots when they're ready, replants them, and then whenever he comes across this villager over here, it can be any type of villager, he'll throw food at him. And then we steal that food using the hoppers and put it into our chest. So it's super easy. Don't even need to do a tutorial on it. It's extremely low tech, no redstone, and it's really cool. And one of the first people I saw post this was Licensed Professional on Reddit. If someone else posted earlier than that, I apologize. I think a lot of people got the same idea at the same time, and they probably got it from the same place I did. That was watching Doc M and the other Zip Crowd guys' snapshot review, where they showed the villagers throwing bread at each other. I saw that and I was like, I can automate that. I'm sure a lot of other people had the same reaction. But I've been doing a lot of testing on this farm, and I've found a few problems with it. It didn't take me long to discover a few problems, and I've found a few ways to make it more efficient, and also some things you really need to avoid that could completely stop it. So the first thing I noticed while watching this, which is the same problem you'll see right here, darn it, didn't mean to do that, is that eventually this little farmer here, he starts out really good and he harvests really fast, but after a while he just completely stops harvesting. And you'll take a look and notice how many carrots he's backed up on right now. Whereas if we look at the farm to the left and the farm to the right, they have no unharvested carrots. And what I think is happening here is that these farmers have like a max inventory size for any one item. And once they hit that max inventory size, they'll just completely stop harvesting until they either one, plant something, or two, throw food at another villager. And the way I found this is I realized that when this guy eventually makes his way over here and throws food at him, every single time that happened, he would immediately, oh, is he doing it right now? Oh, come on, come on. This is great timing if he's actually doing it. And there it goes. So you'll see exactly what I mean. As soon as he gets done offloading his carrots, he'll then immediately go and harvest the rest of the carrots. And that tells me that they have like a max inventory size that they hit, and that they cannot harvest anything until they offload food. So let's go ahead and see if this guy does it. That was quite a few carrots. I should have paid attention. Oh, and there he goes harvesting. So what this shows us is that it's in order to increase the efficiency and the speed of these farms, it's necessary to get these farmers to offload what they're carrying as often as possible so they don't hit that max inventory size. And I started experimenting with a few ways in doing that. The first thing I tried was just putting one of these villagers on all four sides, which it worked all right. I wasn't super happy with it though, because it didn't help as much as I thought it would, and I didn't like the food going to four different places. And so the next thing I tried was putting the villager inside of a house. And this made a world of difference. You saw that guy just walk inside this house right now. This greatly increases the speed at which he offloads his food. One, when the guys are done harvesting food, oftentimes they'll just walk into the house anyways. But also every time that night comes, so if I just set the time to night, these farmers, they'll go running inside the house and offload everything they're carrying when they get scared. You'll see it in a second. This guy's going to be like, oh, it's nighttime, and he'll go sprinting into the house. He's taking a long time to notice. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, so basically what you're doing when you put this guy inside of a house is you're guaranteeing that every time nighttime comes, these farmers are going to go running into the house and offload their food. And so that way they don't get backed up on the harvest. And I've put these two farm plots right next to each other, and I've tested this like 4 times now, and the result's always the same. This guy has done about this many carrots in like an hour and a half, I think, testing. And this guy has done quite a bit more, probably about 50% more. And I've gotten the same result every time I've tested. So putting the guy that he throws food at inside of a house greatly improves the efficiency. And also, if you're wondering, well, will the guy come outside the house at nighttime and harvest? He actually will. It's kind of funny too. He'll come sprinting out, harvest a carrot, and he get scared and run back in again. And let's see if we can catch him doing that. Um, but yeah, so that was one of the first things I found to increase the efficiency. By the way, I made this big farm over here just to prove like how necessary it is. Imagine if you had a farm this size and we had a guy just sitting here on the side, how low of a probability it would be that they would come walking by and offload to that guy. So whereas if you have a house, you're guaranteed no matter how big the farm is, they're going to come back here every single night and offload what they're carrying. Yeah, so, oh, is he going to come out and harvest? Yeah, there he goes. He's going to harvest and they get scared and go back in. So they will come outside the house and harvest at nighttime. Alright, so now let's talk about things that can decrease the efficiency of the farm, which unfortunately there are several things. There's one in particular that's a little bit strange, and let's see if I can explain it to you without confusing a lot of people. So I was testing to see whether or not uh, the farmers would harvest inside of a house, which it turns out they will. But I built a house out there about 50 blocks, and I was testing that, and after about 20 minutes I came back and I had noticed not a single one of these guys had harvested anything, and they wouldn't harvest anything except for a little section of plants, like 2 or 3 blocks wide, and they wouldn't touch any of the crops back here. And that was the same for every farm. And I was like, what is going on? At first I thought it was like a bug or something, and I was spending a whole lot of time thinking about it. And then finally I realized that all the farmers were looking out towards the house. And what had happened is that house out there and these houses had formed a village, and the epicenter of that village was way out that direction. And what was going on is that only a small part of these farms was registered as inside the perimeter of the village, and the rest of it was registered as outside the perimeter of the village. And these farmers would only harvest the crops inside the village. They wouldn't harvest anything outside the village. And I actually tested this over here. So let's just go ahead and fly over there. I made a big long strip of wheat to figure out where the edge of the perimeter of the village is. And I put a farmer down right there. And let's see, this farmer probably wandered off by now. I'm going to have to get another one. Yeah, he's gone. So get a villager egg and get some bone meal too. Yeah, I'll get this back up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a farmer here, and you'll see that he will only harvest the wheat up until he gets to the perimeter of the village, and he will not harvest any wheat past that point. So, nope, nope. Come on, farmer. Nope. Is that a farmer? Yeah. All right. Now watch this. He's gonna stop like right here somewhere. Come on, come on. All right. I cut the bit out in the middle right there because it took him kind of a long time to harvest that. But he stopped right here, and he will not go past that point because that is the perimeter of the village. And even though that wheat is right there, right next to him, he won't harvest it. And that is what was happening over there. So what you need to watch out for is if you have one of these farms on the perimeter of a village. If your farm is completely inside of a village, it's not a problem because they'll still harvest. Same thing as if the farm is completely outside the village. That's not a problem either. It's just when it happens to be situated on the perimeter of a village, they will only harvest what's in the village. They won't harvest what's outside of it. So that's something you need to be really careful of. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is notice these half slabs on top of this glowstone. When I was doing my testing, I was just I was letting it sit for like an hour, and I come back and check the results. There would be all this trampled ground, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?" And then finally, I caught one of them doing it. At nighttime now, when the villagers get scared, they start sprinting, and if you have a 1 block high thing, they'll sprint up it and jump off and trample the ground underneath. So make sure you don't have anything 1 block tall inside your farm. For example, I have a half slab on top of these glowstones so they can't sprint off it. And once I put the half slab up there, no more trampled ground. Next thing I want to talk about is these two villagers over here. So I put down two villagers to increase the harvesting speed of this crop because there was so much wheat, and they're still kind of falling behind. But um, they were doing real good at first, and then I noticed that oftentimes when they come in contact with each other in the farm, they'll just start throwing bread at each other. And here's the problem: I don't know what happens to that bread. Can it be thrown multiple times? If it turns out that food items can only be thrown one time, so like it gets thrown once and then it just kind of disappears, that means all the bread that they're throwing at each other gets completely wasted. So whether or not it's actually beneficial to use multiple farmers on a single plot remains to be seen until someone digs through the code and figures out whether or not food can be thrown multiple times. Because if it can be thrown multiple times, then it doesn't really matter. Because when they come in here at nighttime, they're going to throw it at this guy anyways. But if it can only be thrown one time, then every time they do that, the food's getting wasted. Yeah, so I would hold off on using multiple farmers until someone digs through the code and figures out whether or not it's okay. All right, now the last one I want to talk about is, I'm pretty sure, a bug, or at least I hope it's a bug, because it's an extreme pain in the ass. Let me check this chest just to make sure. Okay, so this is a test I've been having going for, I don't know, 8 hours or something. And the first plot I tried, when I first tested this, I had potatoes, carrots, and wheat. And the first thing the farmer harvested was a potato. And I had that going for like 3 hours, and the only thing he ever replanted was potatoes, and the only thing he ever threw at the villager was potatoes, despite the fact that he had harvested like 30 carrots and like 30 wheat. Never saw any carrots and or any wheat. And on this test right here, I started with one potato and 3 carrots, and the first thing he harvested was a potato. And this test has been going for like 8 hours, I said. Not a single carrot. I've even on multiple occasions taken out all of the potatoes, planted carrots. Where's the food at? And got him to harvest the carrots, and he still will not throw carrots at the other guy. So this means that the farmers will only throw food of the first thing they harvested, which is a pain, right? So I'm hoping that's a bug, because I don't see why that would be intentional. I don't see why Mojang would make that an intentional thing. But in this current snapshot, which is what, 14W04B, whatever, they'll only throw food of the first thing they harvested. So yeah, that's something to watch out for. Hopefully that's a bug, and hopefully we won't have to deal with that. But anyways, hopefully you guys found some useful information from this video. It got a little long-winded, but what can you do? I tried to talk as fast as I could. Yeah, so go out and make yourself some fully automatic low-tech farms with houses. And yeah, thanks for watching.